Right, and so we're starting off with politics today. Internal democracies of political parties. So over the months, yes, we've sat back, crossed our legs with our cup of coffee, water, and sat back to, take a look at what's going on within political parties in Nigeria. The implosions and the fights and the court cases and all what's of you. And, it's a lot of interesting things have happened at your Really. Just yesterday, the APC held its national convention. Started its national convention. Very colorful at Eagle Square, different things happen.
The colors are limited. They're limited to the colors of the APC.
Oh my God. And I think they did it glowingly and with a lot of pomp and pageantry, because knowing that the opposition is imploding.
APC held its convention at the Eagle Square. Which square is the PDP going to use?
Okay.
You don't know the square that they're going to use. One is using Eagle Square. Is there a horse square? No.
Oh, gosh.
Sorry.
But why?
By the way, I hear that the PDP is also holding its own convention on Sunday. Okay, I don't know the square they're going to use yet.
Well,
even if it's the same one will pack his load and come out.
And so today, to discuss internal democracy of political parties, we have Esemo Yibo, Special Advisor on Media and Publicity to the President of the Senate. He joins us from our Abuja studios. We also have John Oloide, a legal practitioner, is in here in the studio with us. Also, we have Tony Dania, also a legal practitioner, who also joins us in the studio.
Good morning.
Welcome, gentlemen. Right, so let's start from... Yes, thank you. Let's start from Abuja to you, Mr. Eyibo. What are your thoughts on the ongoings within the political parties in Nigeria in the last, year or two? And I'm talking about all of them, right? I'm talking about all the political parties now, even from the ruling party to the opposition, the PDP, Labour, ADC. There's always one sort of drama or the other, implosions, infighting, factionalizations, what have you. What are your thoughts about the goings-on in Nigeria's political system, especially with the political parties and, what's playing out internally within them?
Well, my take is very clear. First, in the heart of internal democracy is the intention of democracy on the outset. By the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, Article 25, people is in the center of democracy and its intention. And the people we are talking about here are the people who have a right to vote and be voted for. And the process of this leadership recruitment must be predicated on the platform of the rule of law. But in a situation whereby you have men who are stronger than the institution, who are stronger, who act as if they are above the law, or in cases where you have certain actions by a group of persons or individuals acting ultra vires, that in any case are the beginning of the issue of undermining the internal democracy of political parties. Political parties are a special purpose vehicle, as a matter of fact, to drive the aspirations and the urges of the people at all times towards gaining political power. But how often are these things played by the rules? So the leadership recruitment culture is in most cases, like I have said earlier, is usually weak because of the prevalence of strong men over the institution. So when you talk about the internal democracy of a political party, you are talking about the people. Because the political parties are dominated, are populated by people, its members. Who are these members? So first and foremost, all of us must be driven. All of us must be reform-minded. The moment you set out to be a politician, as long as you believe in democracy, you must be reform-minded to appreciate the principles of the rule of law, the extent of social justice, to every man his own due. But once you subject yourself to that, I think as a matter of fact, you have appreciated the existence of democracy and, of course, the ancillaries. Okay. So the internal democracy of political parties, most of those things do not start. Most of those things do not start in the middle, or you get to the middle of the match.
There are those who have said, Mr. Yibo, no, if you can hear me.
In the foundation, it's very central.
Just a second, if you can hear me. There are those who believe that the challenge of poor internal dynamics in political parties is a function not just of the individuals, but of certain power blocks. Let me bring it to Mr. Daniel. Certain power blocks within these political parties that seem not to have learned from history. And rather than obey their own laws, align with their own constitution, they continue to allow the impact or the influence of these powerful people that Mr. Yibo is talking about. Yes. And consequently, they, and of course we all know power is transient. Yes. You know, someone has it today, another person has it tomorrow, and then the cycle continues. Yes. How do you deal with that?
Yes, first let me quickly say that my colleague from Abuja was giving us a generic position, but we bring it down to party because the issue is internal democracy in a political party, right? So we all know the meaning of democracy generally. So bring it down to political party. It means when you are defining democracy generally, you start with government of the people, right? But this one is party, management of a party by the members of that party, for the members of that party, where we have inclusiveness, fairness, transparency.
Should have.
Where we ought to have inclusiveness, fairness, transparency, accountability, involvement of every person. Now, we tend to follow standard practices in Senate climb. If you look at the political parties we have in the US, it has evolved over time and it adheres to its own internal rules. But here, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is dictating how the party should run. The Electoral Act takes control of some part of the party. It's just like when you have a company, you need to comply with what the CAC guidelines ask you to do. So now, because there is always a mischief before you amend the law, when a law is amended, it's meant to take care of certain defaults in the previous law. The new Electoral Act 2026 tends to take care of certain undemocratic practices of political parties, such as few persons taking over the dominance of the party. You know, no matter how you try to, improve on the rules that governs activities in the party, they have a way of taking care of it. Now, but every member must be registered now. The new law have said that. At least, and you must report membership every 6 months. Well, the problem is not actually the law. The problem most often is the implementation or enforcement of the law. And the second problem is how to monitor compliance with that law. And then those who are eager to maintain the old method of governing the party, we want to exploit everything and anything.
Sorry, on the issue that you raised of the revised law taking charge of, compelling membership registers and all of that.
Yes.
The old law also has that provision.
Yes.
The only challenge, the only difference is first of all, reporting, digitizing,
yes,
and all of that.
Yes.
So if we had it before and now the INEC is compelling it, it means, from what you have also said, implementation was faulty, ab initio.
Yes, but there's some improvement here. I know that there is there are some few areas I would like to protest in that new law, but there's some improvement here. Now, the sovereignty of a party is more upheld in this new law than the previous law. For example, an outsider cannot come now to dictate what happened in the party or take action against the activities of the party. You must be a member. And then membership must be established through the data that INEC has, that will be compared to the data you have submitted to the INEC as regards your members. You understand me? So it will be, the democracy, internal democracy in the political party is still evolving. It will come to a time where, because what most leaders are doing in Nigeria is that they think of the moment. Yeah. Most of them, when you want to contribute to lawmaking, you think of what will benefit you and your party immediately. No, you think of the future. Like you rightly said, this thing is transient. You cannot remain there forever. Okay. So,
Mr. Loede, yes, we're talking about the. Okay, I like the way Mr. Daniel put it. Government of the party, members of the party, for the members of the party. Would you say that's what we have operated over time? Because there are those who wonder if you guys knew that this is, you have a rule, you came together, you started a movement for a particular purpose, and you set up some parameters. The example, for instance, of the PDP is that even as yesterday we were interviewing one of the chieftains of the PDP, saying, look, we haven't been, he's pretty much saying, we have not been obeying our own constitution. So how can the internal democracy work then?
Well, Mr. Daniel said government of the party by members of the party for members of the party. We all know, so answering your question, I'll start from the end. Answering your question, we've not been operating democratically within the parties, within the party framework. Because if somebody that high up in PDP said, we've not been obeying our constitution, we have practical examples here and there. You have a situation where somebody who is in the top echelons of PDP, for instance, is working in a government of APC and dictating the tune inside PDP. Now, he's not a member.
What is wrong with that? Well, Bolagi was a member of the AD and he worked with the PDP
talking of internal party democracy.
Yes.
Now, somebody who is half in, half out of a political party.
He's not half out. Well, he's fully in his party. Chief Bolagi is a classic example. He was fully a member of the Alliance for Democracy, yes, and he was also the Minister of Power.
I'm not talking about political appointment. I'm not talking of somebody having been appointed politically by a political party to which he never belonged. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, like somebody said, it is even good for you to keep your enemies close to you in politics because they will work better. I read a story about a big man who decided to pick the greatest critics he had pre-election as his ministers. And the reason was, and the people were so surprised that why me? So when they got in, they worked so hard to uphold the vision of this particular person. There's nothing wrong in somebody in APC appointing somebody in PDP, especially if you believe that the person is so principled. Everything he did pre-election was on the basis of principles. But what I'm saying is in terms of internal party democracy, you have somebody, yes, who is in a political party, is a staunch member, in quotes. Now he has been appointed here. And there are people saying, oh, this person appears to be destroying this party that is the biggest, the strongest opposition party. For the benefit of the party, is now working with. And this person continues to dictate. You go to court.
That's an allegation.
It is. We have so many allegations. In Nigeria today, everything we say is always an allegation. They say go to court, and then the courts become the imprimatur. Whatever the court says, we are never happy. No, majority of people are never happy. But what can you do after the court system says this is the way it should be? So what I'm saying is, we have not been practicing. We all know. Mr. Daniel talked about evolution of political parties. Since 1946, we've had this evolutionary process when about Macaulay and co, when they started political parties. And what has always been the downfall of the political parties? Internal wranglings. Somebody comes, and usually on the basis of probably ethnicity. Why should an Igbo man come and dominate a party that is in Yoruba land? It's always been there. Why should the northern people dominate our political party? Why should the chairman come from the north and the presidential candidate comes from the north? If there was internal democracy, why would APC, for instance, declare its policy? And after declaring the policy, they start fighting on the floor of the House. Because at the political party level, there was no understanding. There was no agreement that when we go there en bloc, look at America, like Mr. Radian said, the Republican Party, you know them for where they stand most of the time. And if you have to cross party lines, it's give and take. They have to bargain. The Democratic people will say, okay, you have to give us this, we don't want GHL, TSA and all these things. They bargain. But coming from the party, you come en bloc. In Nigeria, do you see en bloc? There are only two blocks, Nigerians and the politicians.
Yes.
When it suits them, I mean, you have a situation in Nigeria where today, you say we cannot fund our budget. And you see political parties coming out with a horde of vehicles for campaign. We don't have electricity supply. And you have a party dictating the policy that, oh, it's solar. And they say, if I acquire solar energy in my house or borehole, which you can't provide for me, the regulatory authorities will tax me. That takes me to INEC. INEC is supposed to be the regulatory authority. It is not for paucity of laws. We have said it here several times. No amendment is going to change the mindset of we Nigerians, either as active politicians or passive politicians.
So what will make the difference?
I mean, it's not laws. It is the desire. It's a revolutionary desire for change. We must decide at some point in time that this nonsense must stop.
Okay. Maybe, hopefully, it will start from within the political parties. Well, Mr. Ibo, one of the major issues as far as internal democracy of political parties is concerned is how grievances are resolved. I think that's the major issue. Be it the APC, the PDP, the Labour Party, ADC, you name it. The challenge is always how internal party wranglings are resolved. There are those who I remember your principal when he was reading the last time he read on the floor of the Senate that some members of the Senate, were cross-carpeting away from the PDP. He said 3 words before he read that letter. PDP is gone. I heard him and I won't forget it. So, and a good number of them, the issue they always raise is, there is division in our party and all of that. How come, speak as a politician, not just a member of any political party, how come it is so difficult for political parties, members of a political party, that claim to have internal systems or mechanisms for resolving grievances or conflicts, how come they still find it difficult? Are the powerful men that you talked about earlier more powerful than the laws that they set for themselves?
Well, first, in this conversation, there is an issue I must, from what my colleagues were saying there from Lagos. There are 2 clear things. I will attend to your question, but I just want to mention this. The issue of politics and governance. We are talking about the internal democracy. And there is nothing wrong with somebody who is an APC member taking appointment in PDP government, because this is politics and governance. That's number 1. Then number 2, the issue of being a passive politician and active politician. I don't think that is a right pen to use. Politician is a politician. In as much as you have a right to vote and be voted for, you are a politician because you hold opinion. It is that your opinion that drives the vote, your decision, your judgment on who to vote for. So everybody is a politician, and when you abdicate your responsibility as a citizen, then something is wrong. So we cannot be talking about criticizing governance, criticizing processes, and all of that, when from the outset, in the foundation, we don't participate, we don't do anything about it. We only discuss after the post-outcome. But that's all I wanted to comment on that. Then on the question you put across, political party is populated by people. And human beings, you know who we are. There are bound to be complaints of injustice. There are bound to be complaints of marginalization and all of that. But the mechanism to redress this varies from one political party to the other. Like APC, for example, I can tell you that why you are not having these conflicts, because the APC have set up mechanisms to redress any conflict when any arises. And that is not because human beings are not there. We don't have issues in APC. But the leadership recruitment culture in APC is such that we'll be able to manage the internal democracy, the processes and procedures for both discipline and drive. So it minimizes, when once you have recruit the right people into the right places, you will be able to have peace. You will be able to minimize conflict. But when once you have men who are stronger than the institution, stronger than the party, stronger than the rules, you will definitely be having these abdications of responsibilities, and conflict will always set in. So I am still saying that we have to be conscious of our leadership recruitment culture and allow it to be citizen-driven. And the citizens also have a responsibility, because every government is driven, every government is a product of the people. So the people beget any kind of leadership, you know, they require.
Right, Mr. Daniel, I mean, coming off from that and talking about the people having responsibility, most governments will always, say it, political parties say it, even during government in school, they say a democracy is the government of the people, for the people, by the people, all those things that we always sing song of it.
Yes.
But it still rests with the political parties. It's whomever wins the party tickets that is elected into office. Yes. It's whether the party, presents to the people. Even that is whomever, there are several people that jostle for the party ticket as well. Yes. Is whomever the party even still picks. Yes. So how can the people, even the people, it's almost as if it's just on election day that we need you to vote in our party into power. It doesn't matter who we represent, because people don't have a say on the people, on any candidate the party presents. So, I mean, it's still a quagmire that we find ourselves. Honestly, how do we resolve this?
Yes, honestly, it's a very complicated position, and it has been existing up till now. And even when we make laws or amend laws with the aim of improving on it, the syndicate have always looked for a way to sustain that bad practice. But let me first of all say that democracy is an expensive method of government. And then things that are supposed to help democracy, strengthen democracy, make it more interesting in society, are when you have an umpire that you trust, so that when it comes up with result of election, you trust. And then when you have political parties that have ideologies, the only ideology most of our political parties have is that they don't have ideology. You see, what they pursue is victory.
Yeah.
And that victory is at all cost. If this party will give me victory, move in. Then we will spend so much money preparing for elections. On the election day, electorates are deliberately scared, intimidated, and it is an open secret that votes are being traded, even at the polling center. Then beyond that, after voting, you don't trust the process that will announce the result. You start feeling they will manipulate it. Look at the protests that visited this last amendment. We have taken time to study the judgment of the Supreme Court on the last presidential election. And what, because we say, like my colleague said, you give a judgment, some persons are not happy and all that. But that's how a judgment is supposed to be. Some will be happy, some will not be happy. And that's why we have appellate jurisdiction of courts. So the announcement of result, the former law gave INEC a lot of discretion. There was no specific mandatory requirement for the method INEC we use in announcing results. So when the committee of gave the proposal for this current law, made the position clear, I don't know what led to it. My position is that I have hope that Nigeria will be better. Look at the Freedom of Information Act. It was a positive mistake by the government. That is how they will make positive mistake, and Nigeria will become better by His grace. So you see, that law that was the proposed law that was first presented by that committee was superb. When it was published, everybody, to some extent, were happy. And then the most important part is the further amendment made by the Senate, where they tend to go back to give INEC discretion. We are talking about trust of the electorate. How many persons are voting? You will see if the trust can be established, if security can be established, you will see more participants. Take an inventory or the number of the electorates that voted in all the elections, and look at the number of persons that are above 18 years in Nigeria. You will be surprised that it's not up to 10% that voted. How do you improve on this? So it is not democracy we are practicing. We are claiming that we are practicing democracy, but what we are actually doing is government by the few. We are talking about internal democracy in a party. If an ordinary member is aggrieved, it's on his own. I've had to take a matter pro bono for an ordinary member, and I was ready to go on, but he was influenced. They gave him money, and before you know, I said, "Oh God, Daniel, please, I have forgiven them." And today he's regretting. He's regretting. You see, the thing is that the big men, like my colleague, our man from Abuja said, some persons feel they are above institutions. Some persons feel they should be in control. While this is not an odd practice, because it is there in everywhere where they practice politics in the world, but we can take a clue from how the umpire in India are running elections. The Indian has the most popular democracy in the world. Look at their population and see how the elections are conducted there. We will continue to amend Electoral Act, and we'll continue to have this problem. But if our leaders, when we say leaders, we are talking of governors, we are talking of members of the State House of Assembly, members of the House of the member of the Senate, we are talking of the minister, we are talking of members of the Executive Council. If they think beyond their personal self and put the country first, that is the only thing they need to do. Once they put the country first, Nigeria will beat a lot of advanced countries.
Okay. Well, Mr. Loyede, if we have been complaining about poor internal democracy dynamics within political parties for 26, going to 27 years now in our democracy, I wonder if it will ever become attractive to other people. Because there are those who would always reference what happened in the First Republic, how that even though they were a functional government, the regional blocks had the power, healthy competition and all, yet they still had their, pitfalls. Second Republic, the same thing. In fact, there are some people watching us right now who still have their membership cards of the UPN, the NPN, GMPP, NNPP of those days.
DRP.
Yeah. And the Third Republic, I mean, that was either here or here. There's no demilitarized zone, so to speak. The membership were clear of those political parties. But today, it would seem like the rules are different for this Fourth Republic. Totally different. So if we have been complaining, and we still are complaining, about how dirty politics is, mostly because of this whole poor internal democracy dynamics, who will ever want to join?
Well, I mean, taking it from you, I read this morning, I think on the way here, that some people going for the APC convention. I'm answering the question. Going for the APC convention, they were complaining of being stranded at the airports, car parks. Why? Because they said the governor did not, the money meant for them to journey to the convention grounds. Well, they were waiting for alerts, and they didn't see alerts. Meaning, they were complaining that this thing did not come from the state. So you see, I mean, let's take it from there. How can you say you are going to go against the dictates of somebody who is paying your way to the convention? Yeah. Ab initio, you have started off by saying this man should sponsor, and because he's not sponsoring, you say you are stranded, but we're still waiting. And of course, you can imagine the backlash. We've been complaining, it's not 26, 27 years. These complaints have been there, maybe not as pronounced as we have now. And, you know, I want to say something about party membership. Our colleague in Abuja said something about, there's no need to describe people as passive or active politicians. Well, I used those words instructively because some of us are not card-carrying members of political parties. The only card we carry is our voter's card. There are people who actually have parties membership cards who don't have INET cards. They are active in the parties. I am not active in any party, but I always vote. I mean, the only time I didn't vote, I voted in 1993, the June 12th thing. I voted option A4.
Option A4.
It de-emphasized party politics. It was about the people. I mean, we all queued behind the pictures of our candidates. Now, we didn't need any party to tell us, to educate us about all these things. We just queued, and it was counted manually. And we all took the results home. And then since we started this experimentation, we started open and close, secret ballot and all those things. Open secret, all sorts of funny names we gave to all these elections. You see, yes, we've been complaining since before the Second Republic and all that. But nothing has changed. And that is not because the Nigerian people do not desire a change. It is because some people, like Mr. Daniel said, they sit down somewhere and they de-emphasize institutions. Again, yesterday I read that somebody sent it and I checked it. And they said, for the APC, for you to get nomination forms for presidential election nomination primaries, 200 million. Governorship, 150 million. Senate, 100 million. 70 million. Down, up to 20 million. Now, at the party level, PDP did worse when they were in power. When you are in power, you don't start thinking, prognosticating about the future. Yes. Because we are talking about, we should be futuristic if our leaders can think about the future. No, the whole idea of politicking in Nigeria, political parties, their only function is to capture power. And after capturing power, everything else,
Mr. Lede, you have not answered my question.
What's the question?
How do we get people, because we have chosen democracy.
Yes.
It is quote unquote dirty. And the major issue we have is internal democracy.
Good.
How do we get people in?
Is it into the clean up into the political parties? Good. Because
we are all complainers like in the courts. But unfortunately, someone has to do the dirty job of cleaning it up. Otherwise, no one is... are we going to have a democracy?
Can I answer your question?
Yes, please.
With my own question.
Yes, sir.
My question is, do the political parties want a large crowd of people within their ranks? Do they really want us? Can we force our way in?
Mr. Ibo, you want to answer that question?
Okay.
Very well, very well. Yeah, very well. Well, I don't think there is any constitutional restrictions to membership of a political party. Daniel and the other gentleman who is there, even if they want to join a party of their choice, they can do that even today, before the end of today. So the issue of looking at political parties as a clan of men who are always driven by acquisition of power is not correct. And when you say politics is dirty, who is going to wash it clean? And with what? So for you to know that the cloth you are wearing is dirty, you know when it's dirty and you know what to do with it. Come inside the political parties and participate in the processes, the internal democracy of that party, to strengthen it. I said political parties are special purpose vehicles. You don't stay outside to run a commentary. You come inside and participate in the policy, in the orientation. You can help in recalibrating the political process of the political parties.
Mr. Ibo, it doesn't, just a second, because we're running out of time. Mr. Daniel doesn't seem to agree with you.
I don't at all. I don't. You see, if there is an enabling atmosphere, because this thing, we have had it. And when we speak here, we are giving opinion, objective opinion, how things should be done. If you look at our opinion here, with due respect, excuse me, with due respect, it is not meant to...
Just 1 second.
Yes, our opinion is not meant to help our personal needs. It is something that we feel will help this country. And then, excuse me.
We're running out of time.
Yes, I'll round up now. When you say, why are we not participating? In this country, a serving commissioner was assassinated. In this country, a serving minister was assassinated. In this country, somebody that went to Pedro, what's his name, was assassinated. And what happened? Then what did you do? The people in power, appointed or elected, have the government power and government apparatus to provide security for themselves. They don't care about the others. So if you say you want to come and bring good idea to governance, how will you secure yourself?
Okay. Well, Mr. Ibo, you want to quickly respond to that? We are totally out of time, gentlemen. So I'll go around the room 30 seconds each. Go ahead.
Okay. I want to say first and foremost, the issue of India-America should not be a comparative issue here on Nigeria. Our own is evolving. Already, the Electoral Act, which the National Assembly have passed, and Mr. President timeously signed it, is a game changer because it's given opportunities now for individuals, for party members to come out and vote and not decided through delegates. So it is a game changer in that direction. Then number two, I know the gentlemen, my friends there, are all members of political parties, but they don't want to disclose the parties they belong to.
I can tell you the parties they belong to. They belong to birthday parties. I'm out of time. Yes, 30 seconds, please.
Well, I wonder, you see,
just a second, Mr. Ibo.
Democracy imposes obligations on followership and leadership. When we talk about democracy, we should not just say, oh, people should come and vote, people should come and join parties and all that. The people in leadership positions must give us the enabling environment to do that. We don't see that in Nigeria. A lot of people have sacrificed their lives, their blood, families and everything in order to just play politics. And we saw what happened to them. Those in power, they arrogate everything to themselves. They don't, if you are not, that's why are even governors? All the governors in Nigeria, they now belong to one party. They are crossing over. Why? Because they are not sure they will return to power if they don't belong to the ruling party.
Okay.
My 30 seconds.
Words, yes.
I want to say that internal democracy in political parties should be encouraged, but that is not enough. Enabling environment should be created for inclusiveness. There are a lot of persons speaking outside. Let me quickly give you an example. Professor Wole Soyinka came into government Was he not the inaugural chairman of road safety?
Yes.
So Solari, a loud critic of the government, was People's Bank. It was made People's Bank.
Yes.
And they all came in to see if they can help. So if you bring some few persons, like loud critics that have been brought in, Camus, my friend, was a very loud critic of government, was brought in. What's the name of this man that I was criticizing? Oshomole is now there. This ambassador, what's his name? Reno. You know, and all that. So you create environment to people to contest election. If the environment is good, I would have contested. I will contest for governor or anything.
Okay.
Yeah, so create the enabling environment.
I think we are telling all politicians that they will create the enabling environment.
Now, for my 30 seconds.
Yes.
For my 30 seconds, and we have some comments coming in from some of our viewers. Pastor Law Alpha, the inclusion of consensus in the electoral law only translates that majority of party members have been gagged and shortchanged. Those who emerge as officials of the parties do so at the mercy of powers that call the shots. APC isn't an exception.
Unfortunately, Mr. Ibo, you can't respond. Festus Akimboyewa says, the problem with parties' internal democracy in our country is common with presidential systems, where parties are weakly institutionalized, ideologically thin, and heavily dependent on powerful personalities. That's the main reason why internal democracy struggles to take root, because parties operate less as democratic institutions and more as vehicles for individual ambition and patronage, period.
Can we not?
Yes,
Skittish Money says, internal democracy is difficult to achieve in Nigeria because our background is authoritarian in nature. If you look at our family system, we cannot legislate democratic tendencies. We need to start practicing it from the family, and then it becomes a way of life. Sounds like you're saying that Baba Sope was our lifestyle.
Exactly.
I think we all...
1 second.
Wait,
I apologize.
We owe him 30 seconds.
The amendment in the new electoral law are still giving INEC discretion, and that is a wrong one.
Okay, well, you're a lawyer. I'm sure you can take it to court. When we say you have 30 seconds. Very
well,
quickly.
I want to say that most of the comments are very good opinions.
Thank you.
But of course, I will give them the liberty, because if they were to go through the legislative processes that led to the issue of the Electoral Act, I think they would have appreciated it more. But however, I would advise that all of us should recalibrate we should recalibrate our consciousness, national consciousness, so that we will be able to appreciate how to contribute, either as party members or as citizens in growing Nigeria. Because the present reform that we are having in Nigeria today is not a reform meant for criticism. It's meant for opinion. It's meant for citizens to participate and contribute for national growth and prosperity.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes.
We must recalibrate our national consciousness.
It is part of the recalibration that we are doing here in our system. Thank you so much. No, you are not getting 30. We have given you your 30. It's the Seme Ibo, Special Advisor of Media Publicity to the President of the Senate. We thank you for your time. Mr. John Oloyede, he's a member of a birthday party.
Yes.
He's a legal practitioner, as well as Tony Daniel, also a member of a birthday party. Also a legal practitioner. Thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of our show this morning. Well, the whole idea of democracy is good governance. And one of the ways in which we see that happen is through education. And that is the fulcrum of our next conversation. Do stay with us.